Hi everyone, welcome to Ethernal Realms and welcome to the month ahead astrology reading. Make sure you check your sun, moon, and rising signs for a comprehensive view of the month. Additionally, I would recommend watching the tarot reading of the month ahead to get a different perspective. While you will know the astrology in advance through this session, I will also send you a reminder when the astrological events are near. All you have to do is subscribe, hit the bell, and you will be notified as the events occur through my community page. I occasionally post behind the scenes, meditation guidance, quizzes, and polls, which you can check out for yourself. And it goes without saying that you will be notified when new videos are out, such as other zodiac readings and pick a card tarot readings as well. If you prefer to cut down the guesswork about your month ahead, you can always connect with me via Etsy to get a personalized week-by-week month ahead tarot reading paired with the general astrology. Enough about me, let's talk about you. So let's talk a little bit about the overview of the month first. We have two full moons this month. One on the 1st of August is a full moon in Aquarius, and on the 31st we have a full moon in Pisces. On the 16th, we have a new moon in Leo, so lots of lunar events occurring this month compared to the previous ones. Other interesting things is that Mercury is going to go retrograde in one of its home signs, Virgo, and the shadow period for that is going to start on the 3rd of August, and the retrograde itself occurs on the 23rd of August. The zodiac sign moves from Leo season to Virgo season, also on the 23rd, and Mars is changing signs from Virgo to Libra on the 27th. Apart from that, we have Uranus in Taurus going retrograde as well. And keep in mind, Venus is still retrograde at this time, and so is Neptune, even Saturn. So we have lots of planets going retrograde. Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus, Venus as well. Okay, so lots of retros. Okay, let's get into it and see what this means. So on the 1st of August, we have a full moon in Aquarius. Now, this is a fellow air sign for you and is falling in your 9th house of belief systems, expansion, your worldview, connections with other cultures and concepts from other cultures, spiritual modalities, as well as religious systems. Now, because a full moon is a time of opposition between the sun and the moon, there can be some personal ideologies that are coming to light, and this can be putting into context with what you already know of your spiritual belief system or your religious systems. So what is your worldview and what can be modified or rebalanced in this case? There can be new perspectives and knowledge that come up. And on the same day, we have Mars in Virgo trining with Jupiter in Taurus. And this is a favorable aspect. And the 4th house is Virgo for you, and Taurus is in your 12th house. So this can talk about your personal life being quite pleasant and soothing. There might be some activity going on in the home space or your family environment. There can be just a more dynamic environment that can bring you more peace or give you a sense of stability in a sense, or a sense of security as well. You might be reconsidering certain priorities or decluttering, releasing, or finding more spiritual clues and contexts about your purpose, or kind of understanding yourself in a deeper state. Resting and relaxations are really beneficial over here. On the 2nd, we have Mercury in Virgo, right opposite Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn is retrograde at this time. So this brings into focus your 4th house of home, family, and inner self with Virgo, and your career, ambitions, your status, and professional presentation through Pisces. So with Saturn being retrograde here, I talked about this in the month of July when it went retrograde, in June when it went retrograde, but it is still retrograde at this time, and it is still a time of restructuring things around the workspace or in terms of your goals and ambitions. Some commitments you might have taken up, maybe that's not resonating with you anymore, or you need to figure out different plans in order to bring that into fruition. Either way, that recalibration is going to happen around this time. On the 3rd, Mercury enters shadow zone, and on the 23rd, it will go retrograde. So from the 3rd, start noting what comes up for you, because Mercury is your ruler and it is going to go retrograde in Virgo, another sign that it rules. You're likely to feel this quite strongly. So just take note, you're likely to be more mentally susceptible to whatever clues that Mercury is trying to put out there. So yes, this can give you some context of what you need to work on during the retrograde phase. On the 7th, we have the Sun in Leo squaring with Jupiter in Taurus, and Leo is your 3rd house of communication, siblings, short distance travels, local community, marketing, advertising, and any plans, strategies, contracts, writing, speaking, anything connected with the mindset as well. And Taurus is, like I mentioned earlier, in your 12th house of spirituality and your rest time, imagination, daydreaming, idealism, things like that. So when we have a square over here, this can talk about you feeling the need to exert yourself, like to learn many things and to get very creative and do a lot of things that you're passionate about. But there is a tendency to overdo it, and you might exhaust yourself such that you don't want to work the next day, or you don't want to get up the next day, or something like that. So just be watchful of your energy levels around this time. On the 9th, we have Venus in Leo squaring with Uranus in Taurus. And once again, these are the same houses, but the planets are different. So Venus is retrograde at this time in that 3rd house. So the things that you're enjoying, the things that you're thinking connected with love, abundance, blessings, and gratitude, there can be some breakthroughs or some additional information that come to light that were not known to you before. That can feel a little bit surprising or stressful in some cases. The exact feeling is going to be subjective based on your personal chart, as well as what else is going on in your life at this time. But there can be some information and messages that come to light in that regard. It can even be connected to your siblings if you have any. Now, the same day, we have Pluto in Capricorn. That's your 8th house. And that is squaring with the North Node in Aries, which is your 11th house of networks, friendships, hopes, dreams, and aspirations, and humanitarian efforts as well. And Capricorn, being in the 8th house, is about shared resources and assets, your psyche, what you do behind the scenes, or how you connect intimately, your vulnerable style, and all of that. So when we have squares to the North Node, it talks about fateful interventions and certain steps that we have missed in the past that are making a come around because we need to transform certain things. Now, Pluto in the 8th house is quite strong. Okay, regardless of the zodiac, Pluto in 8th house can be quite strong. It's about creating some profound transformations. Perhaps you feel very drawn and called towards astrology and other esoteric sciences and studies. This can also be you trying to understand yourself at a subconscious level, so it involves a little bit of investigation that you gotta do. This can be, if you're going for therapy, for example, or counseling sessions, this can be you creating a big breakthrough that helps you move forward towards your aspirations without any inhibitions. On the 10th, we have a favorable aspect between Mercury in Virgo with Jupiter in Taurus. So this is a trine aspect, and again indicates support and blessings that come in. And also this can be sudden resolutions of ongoing issues. So this connects with your 4th and 12th houses. Again, it's private, behind the scenes houses. So your internal space is quite clear, and you might be decluttering your space, or you have done that recently and you're just feeling really good being in the space that you are. And honestly, the clearer you keep your space, the better it is going to be for you throughout this Mercury retrograde cycle. Just telling you beforehand, before I forget. But this can be one of those times where you get some nice insights, or you just feel this compelling need to, figure things out. Maybe get some, sound bowls, if that's something you resonate with, that can help you relax your mind, bring you to a grounded state. Maybe you want to garden more and you want to engage in something that's earthy, because these are earth signs. That can be especially relaxing for you around this time. On the 13th, we have the Sun conjoining with Venus, who's retrograde in the sign of Leo, the 3rd house. And this again brings into focus your sibling life, communication, inspiration and mindset, short distance travel. So this can be about finding some type of clarity connected with what your love language is, what are you really passionate about. There can really be a desire to find a certain level of stability and at the same time inspiration with the things that you're experimenting with or the things that you're involved with. If you are studying or you're taking courses, or you're a Gemini, so I would not be surprised if you're constantly researching or reading certain things, getting to know about certain things. This can be an especially like social time for you, and it is there is a chance of it leading to more plans down the line, but maybe not just yet because Venus is retrograde. Okay, so some nice plans you have for the future, that's fine. Anything related with creativity, artistic expression, connected with children, or your attitudes about children, your own inner child, and all of that. On the 16th, we have a new moon in the sign of Leo, same house. So there is a newfound clarity, inspiration, or innovative energy that surrounds this new moon. There is a square with Uranus, but this is again creating some sort of breakthrough situation. Surrounding the square, there's a lot of positive aspects going on, lots of nice trines, and with Chiron and the North Node, and there is a conjunction with Venus as well. Even though these are like looser aspects compared to the square, it is still there to show support for this new moon energy. So whatever is trying to be birthed into your life at this time, new ideas and, new strategies and plans, new pathways kind of opening up here, you might have to change certain things that you have done before, or the way that you go about things. Maybe that's not the way to go about things for the new opportunity to make sense for you or to come to fruition. Either way, you're going to find out proceeding from this new moon phase, which can lead to lots of surprise new opportunities, because yes, Uranus represents that surprising nature. And also I'm saying it's nice because the same day we have a positive aspect with Mars in Virgo and Uranus in Taurus. So either you're getting some support from your home and family environment, or you're feeling very strong and vital enough to go forward with anything you need to release, anything you gotta let go. You're like, okay, well, I'm not very attached to this, so I'm going to let this go. Any self-sabotaging behaviors, escaping mechanisms, coping mechanisms, all of these things, there's a nice chance here to be creating more healing space for yourself. I'm also getting that you have a clearer mindset moving forward, but also this is going to be a slow development. One by one is just going to keep working, especially through Mercury going retrograde. All right, 21st, we have another favorable aspect between the Sun in Leo, your third house, and the North Node in Aries. Now, this was already coming to fruition at the time of the new moon, but it was not yet exact. So on the 21st, it becomes exact. And this is talking about some nice inspiration, downloads, and again, fateful information or encouragement that motivates us towards finding a greater sense of self and unique expression in the larger world. So establishing yourself in a community, in a larger network, or you're starting your own humanitarian venture. Maybe you are starting your own business or social media account and you're reaching people over here. You want to expand that in some way. So you're trying different things and experimenting with stuff. You have many ideas. So, try it out. It's a nice time to experiment, of course, but perhaps not the best time to commit to a particular thing. But you are an experimental sign in general, so I don't think that is going to be much of an issue for you. On the 22nd, we have Venus in Leo squaring with Jupiter in Taurus. This is a classic sign of overindulgence or overpromising, especially because Venus is retrograde. So be watchful. Don't purchase something that is very permanent or very expensive. Same goes with like making large promises to people you've met recently just to make a certain type of impression, because in that case you are being false to yourself and false to another. And with Venus being retrograde, that does not work in anybody's favor at the end. It might seem all nice and great at that time, but once Venus goes direct again, things just come up to the surface and it's like, oh, why did I promise this? I can't keep up with it. Or, it just causes undue stress. So just be watchful for that one. But apart from that, you can absolutely utilize this energy to develop greater self-love and understanding of what you want to showcase yourself as, or what type of contribution do you have for your community, both personally and at large. The same day, we have an opposition between Mars in Virgo with Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune is retrograde. And this is again bringing the focus back into your work life and your home life. So you need to find better balance in some regard. It might be that you have lots of activity going on at home, that you are not able to pay too much attention to your workspace. So of course, there are different circumstances at different times, and things just ebb and flow, and we can't be expected to have everything stable all the time, right? But when this aspect comes up, it's basically offering us a chance that if certain things are busy in certain circumstances, how would you manage? This is something to think about and see where you can adjust. If it can't be done, it can't be done. It's nice to just accept it in such situations instead of being confused about why is this happening to me and why does this always happen, right? There is a point of acceptance to be gathered when you know the astrology of what's going on here, the mood in general. But if you can find a balance point, it's even better. So this can also talk about how much you care for yourself and how much do you give to others. You're very helping and generous in general. Okay, if you know something, you don't mind sharing the information, you don't mind helping other people out and all of that. You naturally have this talent and you might be very driven to do this. But again, because of this opposition, it might be that you're not able to help every single person out, and that might feel a little bit annoying for you, especially because both of these are mutable signs and that is at a square angle to you. But apart from that, it does indicate some positive breakthroughs in the sense that you didn't know that you were capable of teaching something or to present the work that you did, and that you actually worked really well under pressure and you're actually impressed by whatever you have produced. On the 23rd, we have the zodiac season shifting from the sun being in Leo to the sun coming into Virgo, so it's officially Virgo season. And the same day, we have Mercury in Virgo going retrograde. Lots of Virgo activities now already with a concentrated effort. It's beginning here, and all of this is falling into your 4th house of home, family, and inner self. So with Venus is already retrograde, yes, but Mercury going retrograde as well. 2 personal planets going retrograde. This is kind of like a time where we need to turn inward as a collective. Okay, we need to turn inward. We need to look at things and analyze again and see what is our priorities. This is where I was saying decluttering your home and your immediate environment, that can be very beneficial because you can really see what you truly need, what you don't really need. This can also be about reorganizing your space instead of making permanent decisions of throwing something out or deleting certain files or some, not talking to certain relationships, but instead like taking a break from a certain relationship if that's something you need, or putting some unnecessary items away from your vision and putting that in the basement instead because you don't need it right now. It's little things like this, temporary adjustments, that can help you conceptualize and visualize a different way of being while you are in the home space. Okay, especially if you work from home or you communicate a lot from home, this might be a very nice time to work on that office space or create an office space as well. Now, like I mentioned, Mercury is going to be strong in the sign of Virgo, so you're likely to feel this quite strongly, mainly because Mercury rules you too. So make sure you're backing up your files and double check your emails before sending it. Think before you speak, because it does not have to come across aggressive or anything. It just can seem different. The information that you're presenting might be incomplete, or it can be said in a different manner, etc. Okay, so just double check, make sure from your side it's fine. But apart from that, in a general context, like any retrograde phases of these personal planets especially, it's not the best time to sign like major contracts. So if you're purchasing a home, this might not be the best time because you might not have all of the details and you would have to go over. Maybe the contract has to be rewritten when the retrograde phase is over, or certain other compensations need to be made. So just be watchful for that. On the 25th, we have a favorable aspect going on between Mars in Virgo with Pluto in Capricorn. So Virgo again is in your 4th house, and Pluto is in Capricorn in your 8th house. So once again, private houses, these are things, the Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn activities are not going to be visible to the outside world, but you're feeling this internally. Okay, so some personal transformations and empowerment is happening around this time, and you're feeling encouraged and motivated to take some practical steps to move forward in a way that makes you feel stronger about yourself, where you're headed, life in general. This can also be about purging certain toxicities or subconscious belief systems and patterns that are not working for you anymore. This can even be if you have some family wounds or wounds connected with your ancestry, even if it's not immediately connected with you. This can come up to light, and you can really have a realization or an understanding and compassion that, okay, so this is why things are the way they are. And from that point, you can move forward to either rectify it or accept it. On the 27th, we have another opposition between the Sun and Saturn across your 4th and 10th houses. Saturn, as I mentioned earlier, is retrograde. So restructuring, once again, finding the balance between the home and workspace. If you have the flexibility of working from home or working from an office, you might have this confusion of which one works for you best. It might be a little bit difficult to come to a conclusion because there might be some restructuring that is going on in the workspace with regards to your goals and ambitions, but you might be needing to be more present in the home space, perhaps because you have a package coming up or someone in the family needs you or something of that sort. So yeah, try to balance, like I mentioned, try to balance things out by moderation. Maybe take a part-time or that particular day work fewer hours, and then you come back home and then work from there or something of that sort, to find some sort of middle ground. The same day we have Mars moving from Virgo into Libra. So that is going to move your activities from the home space to your 5th house of hobbies, dating life, creativity, artistic self-expression, aesthetic style, and childhood, inner child, children. Okay, so Mars is not very comfortable in Libra because it rules Scorpio and Aries, which are two masculine signs, or like very willpower focused. Meanwhile, Libra is quite the opposite in that particular sense because it strives to strike harmony, beauty, and balance. So Mars is having to be very contained in this house because it is basically responding to what Venus, the ruler of Libra, is trying to do. Okay, I know that Venus is in Leo, but Venus still rules Taurus and Libra. So wherever she is, whatever she's up to, these two houses are going to be affected. Now, because Mars is over there, there is an increased activity here. It could be that your children are being a little bit erratic at this time, or they are demanding lots of attention from you, or they're going through some significant phases and they don't quite know how to handle the emotions or the energies that they are gaining, and they might look to you for direction, or they might oppose your direction, but they need your direction. Okay, so there is that little bit of I want it but I don't want it, so I'm just going to drive myself crazy type of energy with Mars in Libra. So the way that this can flip to the strength side is if you're trying to create peace between your children, let's say, or between you're trying to resolve certain conflicts with your inner child past or present, how you are expressing that inner self. That can be a very good use of this. Another way this can be nice is if you're trying to cultivate peace, like consciously you're trying to cultivate peace and incorporate more art, beauty, and harmony within your environment, then this can be channeled energetically in that way. On the 29th, we have Uranus in Taurus going retrograde. So this falls in your 12th house. This is then bringing in a little bit more stability in that 12th house section. It's a time where you can allow the past changes to sink in. There's not going to be too much new information that comes in, which is surprising or hidden or things like that. Instead, if you want to make certain changes, you're going to have to do this yourself. And by changes, I mean bigger changes, such as I'm not going to have my bank account here anymore. I'm going to do it somewhere else. And it is important to kind of bide your time with this, because Uranus, while it is direct, it can be like split-second decisions, and it can be just instantaneous, spontaneous types of movements and changes. But when it is retrograde, it's like, yeah, but you like sit on it, make the change, but sit on it, understand it, and then make a wise choice. On the 31st, we have another full moon. This one is in Pisces. So the sun is in Virgo, the moon is in Pisces. Again, brings into your focus your work and your home sphere, work-life balance. How's that going? And this is in a favorable aspect with Jupiter. But the moon is conjoining with Saturn. So moon conjunct Saturn, even though it's a little bit farther off, but it is still like close by. This can feel a little bit isolating, but it is quite purposeful in isolation. Now, this can mean that you're working by yourself on your own ambitions, your crafts, and your goals in life, what you want to make your legacy. If you have any artistic expressions and creative pursuits that you have, you're likely working on things by yourself. But you have some epiphanies and some nice rejuvenation that can happen through your home, like by going home, resting, relaxing, and like doing your exercises and eating well and all of that. Your mind stays fresh and you're full of new ideas. And because Saturn is involved, this means that you're able to follow through on things, which I enjoy for a mutable moon. Mutable moons can be, whether it is new moon or full moon, it can be like, okay, wow, this is amazing, I'm excited, and then you just it fizzles out, because it's not very steady and sturdy as a zodiac. So when Saturn is here, retrograde or not, it gives you that sense of structure of, okay, I can do this, this is a great idea, or this shows some promise, I can approach this. But at the same time, you don't have the time constraint of you have to do it right now, as you might if Saturn was direct. So all in all, I think this can work out quite nicely for you. But because it's a mutable sign square, just watch out, because it's at a square aspect for you. Initially, it can feel a little bit stressful, because you might have to make some bigger changes, or some just the clarity is like, I have to do these things now. But at the same time, it's very fulfilling, because you get to make all these new experiments. Okay? So that's what I have for you. Thank you for being here. I really hope you enjoyed and that the messages help you out throughout the month. Stay tuned for the tarot reading as well. I will be uploading them soon. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified whenever that's up. And if you enjoyed the reading, please do like and comment your thoughts if you have any. It will be really lovely to hear back from you, and it really helps the channel grow as well. I will see you some other time. Until then, take care. Bye.